Bitcoin has a lot of other values. It's not sitting in the balance sheet as a kind of dead asset. It's the finance team have the authorization and the flexibility to utilize the balance sheet asset becoming the P&L driver. It's not only the sales team, they do the machine sales, they generate value, and also the self-mining team, they generate Bitcoins. Now we are holding Bitcoins, so we can also generate value for our shareholders. For example, if you pledge the Bitcoins to certain loan provider, we can fund the business with more Bitcoin, more cash in fiat currency, and then generate more Bitcoins in future. Another way to generate value is we can generate interest. So there could be 3 business lines for the company. We will continuously to help our shareholders to grow their value.
I'm your host, Mags, and you're listening to Magsplaining, where I bring on interesting guests to talk about tech, money, and power shifts. I hope you enjoy this episode. This show is powered by Ledn, the global leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Visit ledn.io/mags to learn more. Welcome back, everyone. Today, I'm speaking with the team at Canaan, the company that kickstarted modern Bitcoin mining with Avalon, the first batch of ASIC miners in 2013. Today, Canaan builds the chips, runs the rigs, and hodls the rewards, with over 1,511 Bitcoin in its treasury as of July 31st. They've also rolled out consumer gear to make mining more accessible to everyone, which we'll talk about today. And Canaan trades on the NASDAQ under the ticker CAN. I'm joined today by James Cheng, the CFO of Canaan, Leo Wang, the Vice President of Capital Markets and Corporate Development, and Gwing Lauber, the VP of Corporate Affairs. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Magdalena. Thank you for having us.
I'm excited because I can get a bit better picture overview, sort of some of the trends in mining, trends in chips, and all sorts of geopolitical issues that could affect a company such as yourself. So the world is different in 2025. Greater supply chain risks. We have tariffs and protectionist policies under the Trump administration. But positively, there's a new policy framework also for incentivizing onshore semiconductors and chip production. As a company with roots in China, but headquartered in Singapore, how have recent U.S. tariffs on Chinese tech imports impacted your operations or manufacturing or sales?
I think recently in April, we noticed the tariff issue, and the impact to our clients in United States is actually very big because they have to consider the CapEx investment for them, not only the machines. But also the facilities, including electricity facilities and other things. They have to pay the tariff not only for the machine, like certain percentage from Malaysia or from Thailand, but also the electricity facilities. Even some of the facilities has to be shipped from China. That means a lot of tariff has to be paid. They would like to wait and see. That created a kind of demand problem for us. The demand for United States, our biggest market, turns to be very soft in Q2. Previously, like in 2024, U.S. market occupies like 40% of our total revenue. It's extremely important market for us, and it's the biggest mining machine market globally. So we really consider it's important market, and we want to, help the market to grow. But actually, the tariff had a kind of a turbulence. Well, it's unexpected, but we have to face to that.
Yeah. What about some of the recent incentives? For example, the CHIPS Act. Is your company thinking of shifting manufacturing to the U.S. to sort of mitigate some of these risks or challenges?
I think all the new policies, it takes a long time to react because like the chip subsidies, manufacturing the chips inside the United States, it will take a long time, including the fabric companies like Samsung, like TSMC. They move their foundry business lines, supply chains to United States. It will take some time for them to do this. And on the other hand, Intel in the advanced node, it will take some time for them to come back and compete with those two guys. So I'm not that optimistic saying immediately made in US will become a kind of a realistic. But for us, assemble in United States is doable. And that's something we have already disclosed to our shareholders. We had a new line in California. We did the pilot run in Q2, and in Q3, we will do mass production and ship to our, focused customers, including Cipher Mining, our major important customer. And in the new batch of orders, we want to deliver both from United States and from Malaysia. This is so welcomed. I think that's very important for the customers to avoid the tariff. And I think made in USA is also a kind of a proud thing for them as well.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a prudent approach. But given that you have this experience sort of with manufacturing and teasing out something that you said, it's going to take some time for
Yeah.
that production to move to the US. So what are some of the challenges arising in reshoring chips? Whether it's R&D or the actual production, is it the capital side? Is it talent? Is it adapting to local regulations?
Yeah, semiconductor industry is actually quite complicated. It takes a long time for all the devices being installed in United States, and also the talents here, how they develop their skill set to build up the chips. It's not easy. It takes a long time to train them here, including the workers, the engineers here. And even assembling a machine here is also not easy because all the components have to purchase outside the United States because currently, I think if I were Trump administration, I will lower down the components or the raw materials tariff to welcome all this kind of shipment to United States. At least, we can build up the assembling part. For example, aluminum. Aluminum is extremely important for all kinds of manufacturing business, but now it's charged like a 25% tariff for many different countries. So that raised the bar of the manufacturing inside the United States. Also, components like adapters, like fans, this kind of things is easy to produce in other country, but there is no foundation for US recently, so it will take some time for those companies coming back, and it needs some incentives instead of tariff. You have to subsidize the raw materials and to build up the production lines for those basic fundamental components, and then we will enjoy the supply chain here. But currently, all the supply chains are mainly in Asia. It takes a long time for them to come back. But I think as a company, Canaan, we value the system, the supply system in the United States. We want to do the pioneer here. And now we have to ship the components from Malaysia. We still pay the tariff for the components, like 19%. And also another thing to mention is the regulation changes. Sometimes the chips from South Korea or from Taiwan, we don't charge tariff in United States, but sometimes they charge the tariff with 100%. So how can we know, this could be a sustainable manufacturing for us here, like the tariff for chips can be always zero. Can we have this kind of promise? If there is this kind of thing, then the manufacturing investment for us, we can be bigger. We can invest more in California. We can hire more workers in California because we want to get close to our customers and supply the machine to them, locally in United States. We want to have this business for a long time, but currently the ambiguity in the policy and the regulations created a kind of a worry, especially for CFO like me. Are we going to invest heavily to do this, or we just do a kind of a pilot run, and then if the regulation change, we shut down the lines and we come back to Asia and we pay tariff? I think how to make the business like us continuously do this manufacturing in United States. I want to throw this back to the government here to think about how to make the the policy and the regulations consistent instead of just turbulence here. This could work for a short time, but for business like us, we want to have long-term sustainability. That's something we have to consider when we invest heavily into United States. Just like our self-mining, we invest a lot. We want to do that because the regulation is crystal clear. We think that's very favorable to our business. That's why we have the 4 to 5 sites in Texas and Pennsylvania here. That's why we want to be significantly rooted to United States. But for the manufacturing side, the ambiguity of regulation is something we worry about.
Yeah, that regulatory uncertainty does make it challenging for long-term planning. I actually worked a decade with heavy industry, so steel, cement, and the traditional industries, like they take a really long time to build up a site, to build like a steel mill. And the number one thing that the companies said were just make the regulations. It doesn't matter. Put it in, don't put it in, but just decide and move out of the way so that we can make our long-term planning. Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
agree. And also, one of the reasons we chose California against other states was only because California is more available. Trump promised that, the manufacturing is going to come back to many of the states he got supported. And we would love to explore options in, let's say, Pennsylvania and Georgia. But, since the regulations are not certain, we just have to take what it is existing. So California happens to have manufacturing capacities for end products on very delicate and well-made electronics. So we choose California with existing capacity rather than marching into a state without knowing that the long-term investment would pay off.
Actually appreciate you diving in a little bit about why California, because some people might actually be surprised when I think manufacturing. I don't think California, right? But that's traditional kind of industry.
Yes, exactly.
So let's shift into some broader power shifts type of thinking around energy regulation and also Bitcoin's role. Given that you also mine yourselves, with Bitcoin's 2024 halving, how are you seeing mining trends evolving globally, whether it's amongst yourselves, but also you guys have a very unique insight because you also produce mining rigs. So depending on where your customers are coming from, you can see those trends yourselves directly.
Yeah, I personally think before this halving, United States has already built up the leadership in this industry. That means 35% of the total hash rate is located inside the United States. That's a very wonderful situation for Bitcoin because the government actually supported Bitcoin's development, and the local government in different states, especially like Texas, like Pennsylvania, they support this Bitcoin mining thing. As a business, it can hire a lot of workers to join in this industry and also consume the abandoned energy, which could be abandoned, but now can be utilized to generate value. So it's very good business here. And after halving, it looks like the financial market actually continuously drive the Bitcoin price up. So the passion about Bitcoin mining has not been lower after halving. It's actually growing. If there is no tariffs, I would think more and more miners will join this industry, especially U.S. customers becoming our customers. But now I think with the tariff, the rest of the world grow even faster. Looks to me, there are other markets like East Asia, Middle East, Southeast Asia. They are developing their mining fleets. They have gaining market share in global, mining industry. It looks like if United States would like to strengthen the leadership, it takes more efforts to expand the mining operations here. That means energy perspective, you would like to consume more energies into this industry. I think one good news is Trump administration actually activate all the nuclear energies into this industry. I think that will help the industry get sufficient energy resources to do the Bitcoin mining. And I think that will help the industry continuously to grow. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah.
So we talked about tariffs, but are there other geopolitical tensions, whether it's US-China relations or Middle East instability? Are they influencing mining trends?
I think the geopolitical conflicts is inevitable in this kind of new world, and also the debundling of the supply chain. We, as a company, I don't think we should, get used to the past experience. Like we were based in Asia, and we just do things like that. I think the company has already decided to move the headquarters to Singapore in 2022, build up another supply chain in Malaysia to support the global mining operation. Seems like the mining operation, as we expected, has been globalized. Now, like 86 countries, they bought the mining machines from our company. So we have already delivered to different corner of the world with our machines. That means the mining operations will not be stopped. Even some countries have some turbulence. For example, like previously, Iran had some drop in the hash rate, and at that moment, we noticed okay, they have some computing power doing Bitcoin mining, and then they shut down the machine, but the whole blockchain has not been impacted. Like the miners elsewhere, they got more Bitcoins allocated to them, and the blockchain is very safe. So that encouraged more and more people to look at this Bitcoin chain and look at the value of Bitcoin. I think one of the value is the safety of Bitcoin is protected by the total hash rate globally. And the diversity and the decentralization is one of the key points of having this blockchain. So Bitcoin, the value now is, $110,000. It's protected by all the miners together, no matter they are in United States or, in South America, in Middle East or East Asia, they protect the same value chain. And no matter how geopolitical conflicts could be, even there could be more dramatic, impacts, but the whole chain is working. No matter how, nobody can shut down all the machines in the chain. That's the spirit of the miners. We are protecting the most valuable asset of the world. That's something we believe, and we want to contribute in the protection in the whole activity.
Miners are really the heartbeat of the network.
Yeah. Yeah.
Need cash but don't want to sell your Bitcoin? Ledn is the global leader in Bitcoin-backed loans, issuing over $9 billion in loans since 2018. And they were the first to offer proof of reserves. With Ledn, you get custody loans, no credit checks, no monthly payments, and more. Visit ledn.io/mags to learn more. So you mentioned tariffs are a major constraint, but my understanding too is that power is a significant constraint because, AI is power hungry and it's well capitalized. Like it can throw a lot more money on the table. And I've even heard that in some places, the contracts are being broken in favor of AI. Like they want an AI customer, so they break down a mining contract. Do you think tariffs are still the bigger issue because there will always be sort of this power at the edges or wasted power that they could find in the US if they had rigs without tariffs, or do you think that AI is a major risk in the US to mining?
I personally don't consider AI as a major risk for U.S. Bitcoin mining operation. I personally consider that will encourage more and more resources being invested into Bitcoin mining because the AI is not conflicting in the Bitcoin mining. The AI is a kind of extension of Bitcoin mining because if you invest in land and electricity facility, signing a contract for 10 years of electricity supply, you will be worrying about how sustainable the Bitcoin mining can be after having will this return be same as previously. But now you have the AI in future. Even current demand is not that huge. The contracts from the giant internet companies are not that big. They only sign contracts with several miners, not all of them. But still, you hold the resources, your capex investment can have a kind of a return for AI's future. So that makes the capital very certain to be used into the Bitcoin mining. In short term, Bitcoin mining is the best way to get your returns. But in longer term, you can also capitalize your investment and gain the returns from AI. So that's a wonderful thing. It linked the short term and the long term together. So that's why we also want to increase our operation here, link the current Bitcoin mining operation and the future AI upgrade. So I think that's not a kind of competition. Looks to me is a kind of value chain putting together and generate a bigger value for the shareholders in short term and long term.
Yeah. Yeah, I see Bitcoin mining as this pioneer species where it really did enable a lot of power to develop, and especially in Africa where there was like previously no sites that had power, or shoring up the electricity grid in some places like El Salvador. So I think it's a really neat kind of interplay, and as a species, if you call it.
Yeah. We call it kind of a hybrid, data center currently doing Bitcoin mining, and also kind of a possibility to extend to AI cloud computing data center. So facilities, devices could be different, but the investment could be similar. And this kind of investment can get returns in both ways. That's wonderful for the investors. Yeah.
And if I could add, there's a lot of flexibility too with Bitcoin mining. So I think of them as very complementary to each other, because with Bitcoin mining, if there's huge demand on the grid, you can shut down your Bitcoin mining operation. You can't shut down AI HPC. So it does give a lot of flexibility if you have a hybrid model.
That's a great point. So in July, Canaan announced a shift from primarily selling the mined BTC to holding it strategically. What factors prompted this policy, and how does holding Bitcoin as a reserve fit into your broader strategy, especially amid all these global economic uncertainties?
Yeah. I think in the beginning, we are kind of a long-term believer. We believe Bitcoin will generate more and more value. That's why our decision from the board is we accumulate. That's an easy word. And the authorization to the whole team, including me and the whole finance and treasury team, is we just keep the Bitcoin in our book. But sooner or later, we have noticed, the Bitcoin has a lot of other values. It's not sitting in the balance sheet, just sitting there as a kind of dead asset. It's not. It can create a lot of values. For example, if you pledge the Bitcoins to certain loan provider, you can get 70% of the value of the current price value, and then having a kind of a loan like a 2.5% interest rate in the 18 months time. And with this kind of facility, we can fund the business with more Bitcoin, more cash in fiat currency, and then generate more Bitcoins in future. And also with Bitcoin price continue to grow up, and this kind of loans, every time we pay back the loans, we use the Bitcoin to pledge to get another tranche, and usually we can increase the cash, supply from the loan. So actually, this is one way to generate value. Another way to generate value is we can buy some of the products generating interest. It's not like sitting there. Bitcoin in the market usually can generate some of the interest from at least 1% to something like 15% or even higher. In this kind of circumstances, we have to choose some of the products and make sure our value in the balance sheet can be transferred to the value in the P&L for our shareholders. I think this kind of treasury policy enables the finance team have the authorization and the flexibility to utilize the balance sheet asset becoming the P&L driver. So I always talk to my team members and say, now it's our responsibility to earn some money. It's not only, the sales team, they do the machine sales, they generate value. And also the self-mining team, they do mining, they generate Bitcoins. Now we are holding Bitcoins, so we can also generate value for our shareholders. So there could be 3 business lines for the company, and we will continuously to help our shareholders to grow their value when they invest in Canaan.
I appreciate you actually discussing your strategy, because that answers the next question of how do you balance hodling with liquidity needs, whether that's for R&D or expansions or power cost management. But for example, by taking loans or earning yield, it helps manage that.
Wow, that's a very difficult question. Yeah, because we don't have a lot of experience in the past for the treasury part. I think we will do some pilot runs in that third line. We buy some Bitcoins in a kind of a scale like 30 coins, 20 coins, this kind of a small quantity of coins to test our feeling about the market momentum. We allocate small quantities of cash in doing that. In terms of machine sales and the mining operation, we were very cautious to allocate the capex to mining operation expanding. We want to do that, but at least we have to make the machine sales a kind of sustainable business, and we don't want to miss any kind of opportunities stepping into the bull market. That's why we throw the cash to our foundry partner and make sure they will continuously support us in the wafer supply side. So I think the allocation, there is no magic number in my heart. But I think from now to future 2 or 3 years, we will see Canaan will become a different company. Currently, we are kind of hardware provider with some self-mining. But in 2 or 3 years, I think the self-mining side will grow, and it will make our business, more sustainable and more smooth in the P&L perspective. And then the third line, the treasury part, will also generate a kind of supplementary revenue and profit to the major business lines. I think, I currently don't have any magic recipe of allocation of funds. Depends on the bear market and the bull market. We do different actions, and every time we will disclose that to the public and let them know how we operate. I think that's something, as a listed company, we will be very responsible for the fund we got from investors.
Given that you are vertically integrated, right, between hardware and mining, which is a bit more of a unique kind of situation among your peers, whether Marathon or Riot, what then makes your approach to the Bitcoin treasury unique, or do you think it's an advantage?
Yeah, first of all, we really value our customers like Marathon, like CleanSpark, like Cypher and Hive. All those customers are, doing great. They are having their advantages in the cost efficiency, especially the electricity cost. But for us, we have 2 advantages. One is the electricity cost. We have the average cost like 4.2 cents. Actually, it's quite competitive compared to the industry standard. I think it's about 5.5 cents or even 60 cents in that case, 6 cents in that case. But for us, we have another advantage is we have discounted machine because we sell to ourselves only in the cost price. So the capex investment for us is always lower than all the other customers. That's something differentiate us as an integrated business model. We have this small advantage, and that means if you purchased the Bitcoins like micro strategy, or currently called strategy, the company, they purchase Bitcoin in the original price, in the current price in the market. But for miners, buy the Bitcoins in a kind of discounted price because, their cost is lower than the Bitcoin price. So we will further discount that with the machine, and the wafer part, we have another discount in this case. So from long-term perspective, I would believe our efficiency will be better than anybody else. Yeah, that's something we have that confidence, and that's why we integrate the model together. I do see some of the peers like Marathon, they would like to also do this, extending their influence to the hardware side. They invested in some developing company like Ledn, but not yet going to a mass production like us. So that means that their cost amortized to every machine has not yet been that competitive to the major manufacturers. It will take some time, but I do like this idea of vertical integration.
Yeah. So that's sort of the picture that you provided for the industrial scale mining. But you have recently also put into the market miners that are aimed at home users, people like myself who want to mine Bitcoin at home. So what trends in home mining are you seeing enough so that you would actually launch a product line?
Yeah, I think from our spirit of Bitcoin, we consider Bitcoin has already have several waves of growing. I think this time, like the fourth halving, actually after that the price grow higher is because of the Trump administration's support, and also the Wall Street has sufficient fund into this industry, and they are purchasing Bitcoins. I think that's good trend, but eventually, as an asset, Bitcoin has, to be held by everybody, by every individual. Now it's only 400 millions of Bitcoin holders. It's not enough. We still have more and more people. They don't have any method to get in touch with Bitcoin. So we do this home miner, and it's also a heater. Try to help them, just in your daily life. You hold one hardware, it can generate Bitcoin as well. Then you get in touch into Bitcoin. You have your wallet, you have your mining pool, you have everything set up, and then you can get involved in that. I think Bitcoin eventually it will grow even to a greater value, just not because Wall Street or any kind of administration or government. It's because the public, because everybody has the freedom to hold the asset. Everybody has the freedom to choose this asset among all the other assets. So I think that will continuously drive Bitcoin higher and higher, because it's still early stage. We see this 100,000. We consider it's already a new high, but it's not. It's not. In coming 10 years, 20 years, we can see 1 million and also, 10 million, even $10 million. Michael Saylor said so. So I personally believe we should do something to help the public. It's
Yeah.
not it's not a kind of a privilege for the industrial miners. They hold electricity. They have chance to build up mining fleets. They have the Bitcoins generated by them. But everybody has the opportunity and has the right to have Bitcoins. And I think we provided the heater. We generated the revenue like 5.7 million in quarter two, and quarter three, now our orders is more than 10 million. So that means doubled. And also this all happened in summertime.
Yeah, I know.
We are selling heaters, yes, in the whole summertime. It's like April to June, and July to September, we are selling heaters. So that means that people are, very excited about this new product. And that's something we didn't expect in the past. We were kind of a commercial goods company, to be business. But now seems like to see we also have our opportunities And I personally expect the Q4 in the winter time, no matter, United States, in different states, the weather could be different, but most of the people, they need heaters. And when they buy heaters, they could choose between the traditional heaters and the new heaters with Bitcoin generation can compensate a little bit of your electricity cost. It's already very high electricity cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bitcoin can compensate a little bit, and you can also accumulate the Bitcoins if you want. Yeah, so I think we will help more and more users coming into the Bitcoin network and to protect the network together with the industrial ones, together with the listed companies like the big ones. But I think every individual has the right to do so.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're right. Heat punk winter is coming, as they say. And I used to actually use my S9 in the past to heat a room, but it became uneconomical. I'm curious, is your newest unit, it can actually heat a single room?
Yeah. We have three different home series products. One is called Mini, can heat one room. And also another one called Avalon Q is a kind of quiet one. Machine can be put in your bedroom. Even you sleep, there will be no noises.
That used to be a common complaint, especially amongst the wives.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard some news about, one of the giant Bitcoin mining companies got some protest from the citizens near their sites. I think, from technology perspective, we are kind of hardware provider. We should be able to do this kind of quiet miners
Yeah.
to help the people, nearby, let them sleep well.
Yeah. How large do you think the consumer market is going to be? Like, what percentage of hash rate do you think it could be within, let's say, the next 5 years?
Yeah, to be very honest, I think currently it's very low. And yeah, that to me is a kind of blue sea. We can consider how big the heaters market is because it's a kind of normal device everyone would like to buy. So in this kind of market, if we only consider like 1% to 5%, the market share in the heaters, then it will cover a lot of more people. It's not only a profitable business, it's just spreading the Bitcoin's spirit to individuals. That's something we like to do.
I love it. Well, thank you very much for your time. Where can people find you?
You can always find us at Canaan.io and reach out to us. We're always here for you.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Magsplaining. Make sure you subscribe to the show so you don't miss any new episodes. And if you turn on the notifications or if you leave a positive review, it can really help my show reach new listeners. This show is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Nothing should constitute as official investment advice, and you should always DYOR. Do your own research. Catch you next time.